Dangerous ideas and soulless republic. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. The idea that ideas should be discouraged as prioritized, inherently self-refuting. You are in fact no more than the behavior of a vast assembly of nerve cells. Which ideas pose a greater potential danger? False ones or true ones? An idea becomes dangerous not when it's plainly false or openly vicious, but when it threatens to sever a culture's habit of tying facts to virtue. The panic is rarely about the claim itself, it is about the imagined downstream collapse. If this, then nihilism. If that, then cruelty. The idea is tied not to the court of evidence, but in the theater of moral contagion. Even if an empirical claim were true, its feared ethical consequences do not logically follow. Group averages do not authorize individual discrimination. Descriptive limits on parental influence do not license neglect. Ineffective environmental policies do not justify indifference. They demand better ones. The mark of a mature moral order is the ability to separate is from ought without anesthetizing either. Every age has its heresies and its inquisitors, differing mainly in enforcement technology. When the punishment changes form, or when it changes from mutilation to grant canceling and reputational emulation, the same ancient instinct persists. Protect the sacred by shrinking the permissible question. History's rearview mirror is a warning precisely because it shows how often moral certainty has been embarrassingly wrong. Humans cluster in coalitions and wear beliefs as badges, not because the beliefs are true, but because they signal loyalty. Once a factual claim becomes a coalition marker, inquiry into it is treated as treason rather than curiosity. The most dangerous thing a fact can do is destabilize the social glue that held a group together. In intimate life, some commitments are not continuously audited. Love, loyalty, and kinship run on unshakable convictions. Societies mistakenly extended their sacred value logic into epistemic domains, turning questions into profanations. What makes sense for marriage vows becomes toxic for public policy. Ideologies arrive in opposite pairs, each claiming moral monopoly, each treating nuance as betrayal. One side insists humans are blank slates and the other structurally redressed can save us. The other insists morality adheres and faith and punishment can cure. Hybrid ideas fail not because they are weak, but because they do not function as tribal liturgy. To argue that some ideas should be suppressed because they are dangerous is to offer a dangerous idea and demand exemption from it. Suppression is justified by someone's judgment of dangerousness, then any side can suppress any other side by the same logic. A principle that can silence all principles is not governance, it is a blank check for the loudest faction. Adults should not run civilizations on the childhood hope that bad facts vanish if we refuse to look. Actions based on false premises fail and contradictions metastasize across belief systems, enabling any conclusion whatsoever. Walls of ignorance do not localize error, they aerosolize it. If an idea is false, open examination is how we learn that it is false and how we inoculate the public against it. If an idea is true, we must update our morals to fit reality rather than sanctify delusions. Avoidance is not safety, it is a tacit confession that we fear the evidence. Speech is action in a networked world, and action has foreseeable consequences. Bad actors will seize on controversy as permission. Simplified slogans will outpace careful qualifications. Stigma can be amplified by the mere fact of public debate. First, do no harm becomes a plausible ethic the moment you admit that truth can be weaponized socially, even when it is not weaponized logically. The imprimatur of the scientific debate can launder toxic agendas by converting them into respectable uncertainty. People may not act on prejudice because they believe it is true, but because they believe others will act on it and they wish to pre-adapt to the anticipated world. Public knowledge changes incentives and can create self-fulfilling cascades. When the cost of hypotheses lands on someone else, skepticism is ethically mandatory. Intellectual elites can be tempted towards iconoclasm as branding, toward hypotheses that flatter their status, justify existing hierarchies, or convert human pain into a clever puzzle. The demand is not silence, but procedural humility, conflicts of interest, careful framing, and accountability for rhetorical externalities. Sometimes rational agents choose not to know, not from cowardice, but to avoid coercion, corruption, or perverse incentives. Double-blind trials, anonymity in review, and Fifth Amendment protections are structured ignorances designed to protect truth and justice simultaneously. The hard question is whether any socially harmful information warrants analogous containment without becoming an all-purpose excuse for dogma. Institutions built to shelter heresy often become factories of conformity. The protection of unpopular inquiry becomes a moral ornament, while the practice becomes risk management and reputational hygiene. When universities outsource tolerance to courts and journalists, they confess that their internal immune system has failed. Suppression in government is more dangerous than suppression in academia because policy metabolizes ideas into coercion. When legislators demagogue inconvenient findings, they do not merely silence, they distort reality at scale. The state becomes a machine for manufacturing ignorance. The soul is not only a metaphysical claim, it is a dignity technology, a way to guarantee autonomy, privacy, inviolability, and moral status. To say we have no soul threatens not merely theology, but a political anthropology. If persons are only mechanisms, what becomes of rights, responsibilities, and sacredness of the individual? To place quotation marks around you is to declare war on the intuitive self. The thesis that identity and free will are outputs of neural machinery may be scientifically continuous in modern biology, yet existentially discontinuous with everyday life. The danger is not that the claim is new, but that the explanatory gaps are closing enough to make it operational. When a code is cracked, it becomes a lever. The genetic code moved us from awe to intervention. A neural code, if sufficiently actionable, will move us from persuasion to programming. The question is no longer is the soul real, but what institutions can prevent mind knowledge from becoming mind control. The same technology that promises liberation threatens enslavement because agency is neutral with respect to ends. One pole imagines remotely controlled soldiers and coercive implants. The other imagines ecstasy on demand in private universities. Both agree on the premise that the self is modifiable like software, and that agreement alone can dissolve the folk belief in an unavoidable inner core unless we program ourselves back into comforting fictions. People can be intellectual materialists and sentimental dualists at once, sheltering a soul of the gaps in whatever neuroscience has not yet explained. As the gaps shrink, the cultural compromise destabilizes. The belief in an immortal core loses its last hiding place. A society that anchored dignity in metaphysics must then rebuild dignity in institutions. The moral order survived Copernicus. It can survive other decenterings. A decent society can prohibit cruelty without requiring a cosmic story that flatters the species. The real test is whether we can ground right, its invulnerability, reciprocity, and flourishing rather than a metaphysical exceptionalism. A bit of inquisitor lives in everyone. A bit of inquisitor lives in everyone, ready to enforce consensus for the good. The proper response is not to deny this impulse, but to design around it. Checks and balances for cognition, not just for power. Free inquiry is not romanticism, it is an engineering solution to human zeal. Whether we like it or not, the network makes cover-ups brittle, unsettling ideas weak, find allies and route around gatekeepers. This makes suppression both harder and riskier because it transforms debate into underground charisma. If we cannot stop ideas from circulating, we must get better at civilizing their circulation.